Gunpla, the Funko Pop vinyls of people who still have souls. A weeby hobby for people with too much self-inflicted shame to have PVC statues of anime girls and whose lives peaked in arts and crafts. Remember that one cute internet interaction where the guy offers to show this girl a pic of his Gundam, and she's like, lol, what a dork, and then he actually does, and then a few years later they're getting married because they're both hot, and his hobby is a beautiful thing of love, dedication, serenity, attention to detail, and everything else someone could possibly want in a future partner? Well, that could be you, but you don't want to watch 5 million episodes of giant robots fighting each other first. Ah, did I say giant robots fighting? That sounds way too cool. I meant space politics! Which is even cooler! Hi, I'm Jett Kuso, and I got into Gunpla building before I had ever watched a single episode of a Gundam anime. And still, only years and years later have I begun dipping my grubby little piggies into the warm, unwelcoming waters of Gundam's expansive media empire. It is not a simple task, with seemingly dozens of timelines spanning centuries, each remixing the basic elements of the franchise to tell heartbreaking, epic narratives about countless themes, like child soldiers, the fact that it's bad to have child soldiers, how it feels to be a child soldier, what to do about all of these child soldiers, and of course, twinks. But you don't need to watch the twinks to enjoy the meditative pleasure of Gunpla, the satisfaction of putting the last pieces in place, and the fact that at the end, you get a really frickin' cool action figure. You can just do it, right now. No knowledge, no experience with the show, nothing. It isn't even expensive. Many of them are some of the most detailed figures that you can get in their price range, but more on that later. My point is, you don't need to watch the shows, and you don't need to know anything, but if you want to know something about the kits before you get into it, or even if you're never gonna get into it at all and you're curious what those boxes on the shelf mean whenever you go to a comic book shop, this is the video for you.
ガンダムの世界からリアルモデルへの革新を開いたバンダイプラモデルシリーズ
When I was little more than a nib of a French fry among the onion rings, Gundam made me mad. I was brand loyal to Transformers at the time, and for some reason I thought Gundam was like a ripoff or something? Some kind of a pretender, stealing valor from my favorite brand. No brand but mine gets to give their robots boxy thighs like these. But by my late teens, thank God my flavors had matured, and I figured I'd give the kits a try, starting with this guy, right here, with the red and the katana and the power of God and anime on his side. At the time, I didn't know what show it was from, but now I still don't. I picked it because it looks sick as hell and for no other reason. That's just an example of the symbiosis between the anime half and the kit building half of the fandom. Either you find a robot that you really like that makes you want to watch the anime that it's from, or you watch an anime because the art is cute and there's best friends in it. And that makes you want to build the robots from that series. All of this is valid. Queen, you are valid. Oh God, she's killing people. Oh, that's a child. I want the twinks back, no!
宇宙の彼方に繰り広げられるロマンの輝き機動戦士ガンダム今プラモデルで蘇る
Gunpla is a bit of a strange word. It's the official term for official Gundam model kits. These kits stray far from what many people think of when they hear the term model kit. I grew up building monster figure kits from the 1960s, glue together kits that you paint yourself, that don't pose at all, that watch you sleep. In contrast, Gunpla are snap-together models, requiring no glue, no brushes, no paint. But that doesn't stop people. What you get at the end is very much a toy. A highly detailed, highly posable toy. Often not particularly, robust, but we'll touch on that later. It's the building process that keeps me coming back. I think it awakens the Bionicle kid in me. Perhaps not the version that'd craft custom monstrosities in the dark hours of the night, but the kid who would dutifully follow the instructions, each page followed with rapt attention, building as a process of unfolding, unveiling, revealing what secret lies within the parts, as a sculptor discovering what figure rests within the marble column. Build complexity, and in many cases the scale of the kits, are divided by grade, e.g. the grades are e.g., HG, RG, MG, PG, PG-13, and R. My first was a high grade, a perfect place for an adult beginner to start. You'll find lots of small parts fitting together in unexpected ways, a daunting task at a glance, but it only takes a handful of hours to complete a full kit. You can bust out a high-grade kit in an afternoon, and you'll get a figure more detailed than anything you can buy pre-built.
Hey, you skipped entry grade!
I'm aware. Are you a baby?
No.
Then you don't need entry grade.
But I've never built one before, and
You don't need them.
Sorry.
Good boy. My second kit was a real grade, the gold frame Amatsu Mina. The complexity jump between HG and RG is actually fairly significant, but not so much that I wasn't able to complete the build. It took me a few days of on and off work, and I'll admit, I still haven't gone up in grade from there. I'm sure I could handle a master grade, but they're a larger scale than the 1/144th that I'm used to, and they can get a lot more expensive. Did I mention high grades are actually really affordable? I'm talking 20 bucks or less for a lot of them, cheaper than a bad transformer these days. That's the reward for doing the assembly labor part yourself rather than getting foreign children to do it. Because ultimately it's just runners of cast plastic tossed into the box with some instructions. No paint, no factory assembly, so they're cheap as dirt when you consider the result. You will miss a step or two and fail to put tiny gasket number 42 where it goes while you're building the leg, and have to disassemble the whole leg to put in the gasket, then reassemble it, then realize you put in the left version of tiny gasket number 42 in the right leg, and the right version into the left leg, but it's all good. I'm doing well, how are you? If high grades and real grades are normally priced, perfect grades are the devil's bargain. If someone has told you that Gunpla is an expensive hobby, it's because they're a freak who only buys perfect grades. The day I start buying these kits is the day I am lost to the world outside, resigned at last to give no more of myself. Regardless of grade, you'll get as much out of Gunpla as you're willing to put in. Any kit, from the simplest to the least simplest, can be elevated to great heights with enough love and care. If you want to file down the rough edges where you've snipped the part off of the runner, it'll look better. If you want to panel line each and every detail to make your kit look worn, real, larger than life, you can do that. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you shouldn't manually snap the parts off of the runners with applied shear forces, turning your commenters into rabid beasts out for blood. Well, sorry, but I'm not here to have a perfect pretty model. I'm here to have fun. Comedy is meant to challenge people. I didn't mean to trigger your woke sensibility. Oh, this is nice actually. Ooh.
Level 5 Gundam, 17 hours.
Level 4, 3 days.
Gundam, what's your level of commitment?
You're gonna be sitting a lot if you get into Gunpla. It's a sitter's hobby, perfect for all of the sit-maxers out there. But sitting for a long time can be a bit painful in the wrong chair. Hours of sitting requires a chair worthy of sitting in it for hours, which is where I'd recommend the C7 Max by FlexiSpot, the sponsor of this video. You thought I was giving you information. Gotcha! I'm not someone who tends to sit still. I shift a lot, and the C7 perfectly adjusts with me. The entire backrest moves up and down, the lumbar rest moves in and out, the seat tilts, the armrests. Whether I'm typing, gaming, or filing my little Gundam nibs, it's easy to put the arms right where I need them. And if I ever want to take some weight off of my spine, bam! You get it, visual storytelling. Look it, headrest, footrest.
Nice.
I've never had a chair this adjustable, this customizable to my sitting needs, problems. The talking points they sent say the chair is great for people who sit over 8 hours a day. And I'm sure it is, but also, don't do that. Take breaks, be mobile, drink water, and quit jobs that don't let you. Quit your job! If you need more incentives, the C7 Max has a 30-day return policy and a 10-year warranty with replacements for damaged parts. You can use my code in the description to get the best price possible. You gotta have a comfortable chair to support your daily work and gaming, so check out the FlexiSpot C7 Max on the FlexiSpot website, or if you're on a budget, you can check out the C7 base model, which is on clearance sale now. All in all, building is a unique joy, which is what Tarzan thought the first time he went into a house. Whenever a long time has passed without me having built a Gundam, I start getting cravings.
I don't have the strength to stay away from you anymore.
And don't.
I want to sink back into the throes of a new kit, lose myself in the assembly. Perfectly balanced between thought, puzzle solving, and a total flow state where nothing can bother me. I display my Gundams much more proudly than any other toy, because I know that I did that. I made those. They were nothing before me. Are they good to play with? Are they really action figures? No. Yes, but no. But yes, they far surpass most action figures, holding poses better, more range of motion in the joints, the aforementioned detail. But I wouldn't trust a young kid with one. Entry grade, maybe, but the rest trend toward the more delicate, with some parts falling off kind of easily because so many components are only friction fit into place. There's always at least one problem part that wiggles free on each kit when I try to pose it. It's definitely a more limited sort of play than you'd get from your GoBots, and the higher you go, the more careful you have to be, which is what Tarzan thought when he was first learning to swing from vines. Gunpla are such a popular part of this fandom that there's a running anime that isn't about giant robots, but a universe where Gundam is an anime and Bandai does make plastic Gunpla kits, and kids build the kits in the show, and then they also still somehow fight each other. It's a hobby anime like Beyblade and others. I haven't watched it, but from what I can tell, they use special particles to animate the physical plastic and control them like it's a video game. Which seems like a world-changing technology being used for something of very little consequence, but go off, have fun. In the show, the better your build quality is, the better your Gundam's stats are. Like if you filed all of the nibs, painted and panel lined it, or made custom modifications, that translates directly to combat supremacy. This level of detail I was describing earlier isn't something for weirdos and obsessives. This is how Bandai wants you to engage with Gunpla. They want you to spend more time and put more effort into making the kits look nice. Obviously, you shouldn't have to, and if the ease of rushing the process is what it takes to make you want to start building in the first place, by all means, that's what I did. Better not perfect than not done. Yet the more Gunpla I've built, the more I've learned to proceed with respect, with love, and to focus, for once, on process more so than results. My commenters on that other video were right to cringe at me for breaking parts off of the runners. Not because I was doing it wrong, but because I was depriving myself of part of the joy. I built this real grade for this video with all the tricks, flush cutters, files, sanding blocks, panel lining, and I can't argue with the results. Not just the model. The model obviously looks beautiful, yes, but slowing down and proceeding with care brought so much more to it than I'd ever had before. I didn't just build it, I crafted it, made it my own, made it unique. I wouldn't have had that kind of patience when I first started with the hobby, when I was younger, but now I've seen just how lovely the process can be. 'Cause as they say, when it comes to journeys, it's not about the destination. It's about the child soldiers. This is Jett Kuso, and I'll see you next time. Thanks to all my patrons at patreon.com/JettKuso, who are the only reason I'm able to make the videos that I am able to make.
More specifically, thank you to my Diamond patrons LUCID, LANA, CHOOKA, and RAZU, RION. My Titan patrons CR107, Gusano, Banana Jones, Chell, Gavin, Greenley, and Douglas Fern. My Hyper patrons Trouble, Mudorios, Orio, Alyssa, Gretlein, Mannsky, Plecopleco, Forrest, DC, HeartlineDai, and new Hyper patrons Kevin, Haji, and Sam Caesar. Speaking of new patrons, we've got Hate Incarnate at the base patron tier, alongside Steven Jack and XT Kai or XT Kakai or Sky. It's up to you. Thanks so much.